Well, hello there. We haven't done one of these in a while. Hello internet, my name is Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do some baking, and not just any baking. We're going to do another recipe from the iconic Dessert Person by Saffitz. Today we are making almond butter banana bread. First step is mixing together the swirl that'll go on top of our loaf. Okay, this seems really thick. I might just heat this up a little bit to get it more liquidy, because it seems just like paste. Oh yeah, that's much better. See, it's more liquidy now. Okay, now we need to make the dry mixture and the wet mixture before combining the two. So as you can probably see, my wet ingredients are still very lumpy. I'm having a really hard time whisking out all of the lumps. I don't think it's banana lumps. I think it's coconut oil. This is the coconut oil I'm using, and you see how it's solid? I probably should have heated it up a little bit before pouring it in here so it became more of a liquid. Because now I just have a ton of clumps of coconut. Like, you see how lumpy it is? I feel like it should be smooth. I don't know. We're gonna go with it anyways because I don't know how to fix it. I wonder if I heat it up, if that would fix it. But then there's eggs in here and I don't want to cook the eggs. We're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna mix the two. We're gonna go with it. I'm sure it'll be good either way. Okay, well, what I was gonna say is I just realized I forgot to add the vanilla extract, so we're just gonna add it now. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it'll be great. It'll be good. Nobody's gonna know. Okay, now we're supposed to use this little almond butter mixture that we made at the beginning to make the fancy little swirls that go on top. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm excited to give it a shot. It's gonna look so fancy and professional when it's done. bad boy. All right, let's see if it's done. I don't know, think that's done. Came out clean. All right, we'll let it cool for a minute and then we'll give it a taste. Am I in frame? Okay, so our banana bread is done. Here's how it looks. Wait, can you see it? Okay. I think it turned out pretty well. It smells delicious. I mean, one of my favorite things about baking is how it makes your whole apartment just smell like a bakery. Like, just makes me so happy. So I think the first thing that we have to do is actually taste it. So let's cut into it. To give it a fair shot, I'm not gonna do the butt piece, although I love the butt piece because it's nice and crunchy, but we'll do a middle piece. Here's how the inside looks. Can you see? Inside. So far it looks good. Looks like a banana bread, which is always a bonus. I'll try it first without butter and then with butter. I'll let you know. Ah, it's kind of falling apart. Everything's better with butter, isn't it? So good. I never really got into the bread making trend of 2020, but I feel like we just went back in time when the pandemic recently started and everyone still had hope that this thing will be done in a few months. 2 years later, I'm finally getting around to starting on the pandemic trends. Here we go. So every time I make one of these recipes, I rate it on 5 different categories. First, how easy was it to make? Second, does it taste good? What is the flavor like? Third, appearance. Does it look pretty? Does it look like the picture? Did it come out the way it was supposed to? Fourth, texture. And fifth, overall, would I make it again? Is this gonna be a repeat recipe? So let's just dive into my thoughts. First off, how easy was it to make? Okay, so I might be a little biased because I'm kind of a Claire Saffitz fangirl, and I love this book. Dessert person? Her recipes are so easy to follow. She puts in little tidbits of like, try swapping these ingredients out, or look out for this, here's a common pitfall. This recipe in particular is no exception. It's just as easy. It took, I mean, you guys saw it was what, like 3 steps? You just make the wet, the dry, mix it together, add the toppings on top, and bake it. It'd take an hour and 5 minutes or so to bake, but that doesn't make things difficult. That just means it took a little bit long. So overall, very easy recipe. I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10. I'm gonna dock it a point because some of the ingredients were hard to find, like almond butter and coconut oil. Those are ingredients that I'm not used to baking with, so it just took me a minute to find. Also, they're kind of expensive, so almond, which we can talk about at the end. So second, let's talk about the taste. Tastes good. Tastes like banana bread. If you are a fan of banana bread and you like the taste of what normal banana bread tastes like, you'll like this. I can taste the bananas. Now my bananas weren't very ripe, like as ripe as you would usually have for making banana bread, but I still get really good banana flavor. It's sweet, it's got a little bit of salt in it, but it's not so banana-y that I feel like I'm just eating bananas. You know what I mean? It's good. It's a good balance. Now, I am going to dock a couple of points on this though, because one of the ingredients is almond butter. And when I went to the store, almond butter is expensive. Like, I think the jar that I bought was like $9. It was approaching $10 in that area. And I'm used to buying like a jar of peanut butter for what, like $3 or $4? So the fact that I spent double that on a jar of almond butter, and then the reason why I'm docking points for it is because I don't really taste it in here. Like, I feel like if I didn't use almond butter, this thing would taste pretty much exactly the same. So I'm gonna dock it points for taste, just because I'm supposed to be able to taste almonds and I can't, but it still is a good banana bread. So for taste, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. All right, third category, appearance. I mean, we'll put the side-by-side pictures up, but you can tell mine doesn't exactly look like the photos. I was hoping to get a nice pretty swirl on top, so you can see Claire's is much darker in appearance and it has like distinct swirls versus mine just doesn't. It looked pretty before I put it in the oven, but after I baked it, you can tell mine looks like mine rose a little bit more than hers, and I have this crack in the center. Not a bread expert, I don't know what that means. It's probably something I did. It's probably a fault of mine, but I still think it has nice golden color. I still think it looks tasty and it looks good in its own right. It just doesn't look like the picture. So for that, I am going to give it an appearance score of a solid, respectable 8 out of 10. I think she's pretty. Even if she doesn't look like the picture, I think she's pretty. Okay, fourth category is texture. So I put this category in here for the whole reason of sometimes you make something and it tastes good and it looks good and it was a fun recipe to do, but then you try to eat it and it just feels weird and then the whole thing is ruined. So off the bat, I want to say that that did not happen with this recipe. This recipe, the texture is not gross. That's not a raving endorsement. No, the texture is good. The texture's fine, like banana bread texture. But I am gonna dock it points because I think it's a little too crumbly. I think it falls apart too much. But like I just picked this up and it's gonna collapse in my hand. So it's hard to eat because it just falls apart so easy. So I'm gonna minus a couple points for that. And again, that's might be my problem. Unclear whether it's my problem or the recipe's problem. But like I said, I'm just a novice baker and I'm making these videos for if you're a novice baker and are just trying to follow this banana bread recipe. You might have something that turns out like this, where you pick it up and it just kind of falls apart. So I'm gonna dock a couple points for that, but I think it does get bonus points because I really like the texture of the little almond slices that I put in here, the nuts in here. It gives it a little bit of crunch, which I really like. So I'm gonna say -3 points because it's really hard to eat, but plus another point because of the almond slices in there. I thought it was good. So that is a solid 8 out of 10 for texture. Okay. Last but not least, would I make this again? Is this gonna go in my repeat list? Here's the thing, I don't bake that often. I'm trying to bake more, but I don't know if I've ever made banana bread before, come to think of it. So I don't really have a go-to banana bread recipe. So I guess for now, this would be my go-to banana bread recipe. If someone wanted me to bring some or bake some for them, I would probably dig this one out. But I am curious to try other recipes if I'm just baking for myself before I would make this one again. Just because like the appearance doesn't really look like the picture. I don't taste the almond butter. I really don't like that I buy like expensive almond butter and I don't really taste it. If I were to make this again, I'd probably just substitute out for peanut butter because it's much cheaper and it would probably taste the same and it would be equally as good and just cheaper. So the answer is, I guess, maybe I would make it again. I'll let you decide. If there are any bakers who happen to be watching this, please let me know if I did anything wrong, which I'm sure that I did. Because I feel like some of the things that I have gripes about is because of me, not because of the recipe. You let me know. It still tastes good. And at the end of the day, now I have delicious banana bread to eat next week. Also let me know, do you like banana bread? What's your favorite banana bread recipe? Do you guys have dessert person? Do you have a favorite recipe from this cookbook that I should try? Or bake book, I guess? Yeah, just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I think that's gonna be it for this week. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Maybe think about liking the video, subscribing if you're feeling so inclined. No pressure though, you don't have to. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next week. Bye.